Hi, Spicewood first graders. It's Miss Rayborn here in our big, beautiful art studio. I am getting it ready for us for when we can be back in here together again. I wanted us to just take a minute to review some of the Alebrijes that we talked about last week. So the things that we noticed about our Alebrijes were that they're very colorful, they're full of patterns. A lot of times they have an action pose, like I'm noticing this really interesting dragony creature here in the center. Almost looks like it's getting ready to take off because its wings are raised up. This armadillo above that has his tail up and his head to the side, kind of like he's looking at something in an interesting way. Maybe a sound caught his attention or something like that. So lots of colors, action pose, lots of patterns, and very creative combination of creatures sometimes, right? So these are not necessarily always things that you would see in a picture book or a trip to the zoo or something like that. They could be combinations of creatures. For example, like this really crazy it's almost like a deep sea fish, but it's got legs and a crazy tail, and all kinds of things are happening there. So it could be something from your imagination. So last week you did a little practicing in your sketchbook. And this week, you get to transfer it on to a big piece of paper. There's going to be some directions from Miss Deb, a couple of slides down to give you a few ideas, but it's really kind of up to you. I'm thinking that you might want to do some painting. So in your paint kit, you had one large piece of paper is what you would want to get out, one of the big 12 by 18 pieces of paper. I would get out your pencils and your crayons for first drawing onto your piece of paper. And then if you decide you want to do some painting, it's up to you. You would get out a water cup, your paint palette, a paintbrush. I would probably get myself a paper towel and set up my spot so that it's ready. So when you're drawing onto that big piece of paper, and Miss Deb will talk about this as well, remember to make your Alebrije really nice and big and fill that page well. Okay, so tips for painting if you decide to paint. When you're using your paints, remember to just tickle the top of your paints with your paintbrush. Don't squish your paintbrush down in there or it will damage your paints over time. Paint all of your Alebrije. I mentioned this before that you can use crayons to put some colorful details, and then when you paint with the watercolors, it will go right over the top. So you might try crayon and paint. Paint the whole paper, including the background. If you're going to use paint, try to keep the wet paint from touching other wet paint. It will mix together, right? So let it dry a little bit before you paint close to it. And the last thing is always to just have some fun, okay? So directions for Alebrijes with Miss Deb. If you'd like to paint this week, go for it. If you're feeling more like using your crayons and your markers and things to make your Alebrije, that is just fine. And we're going to try adding our artwork to Seesaw as an assignment next week. But if you would like to just add it into Seesaw because you know how and you want to show us, please do. We would love to see it. Next week in Seesaw, you will have an assignment to complete. Miss Rayborn is working with your classroom teachers to make that work. So that's our plan. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I cannot wait to see and hear about your Alebrijes, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.